Welcome everyone in a new episode of the Daily Dev Roasting DevRel, and today we have two very special guests. I met both of them in person in different moments in different conferences, and as usual we will try to get some unpopular opinions about DevRel. Okay, perfect. So sound check, we are ready, and I would like to both the guests to introduce themselves. Probably you already know both of them, but let's make the honors. I would like to start with Andrea. Andrea is a senior developer advocate at GitHub. We met 2 weeks ago, I think. We also went to eat together, so we are friends now. Andrea, please introduce yourself and welcome in this event.
Thank you, Francesco, and thanks for the invitation. I'm Andrea Griffiths. I'm a senior developer advocate at GitHub. I get the privilege of talking about tech, nerding out, meeting cool people like Francesco. I have a non-traditional path into, I guess, engineering and being a DevRel advocate. So here for all the spicy takes. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what comes up.
Perfect. And for the record, I don't know your story, Andrea, so this will also be a surprise for me. Also,
there you go.
Don't have a very traditional path. I mean, I talk about this. So, but before we go into the proper introduction, how both of them they got into DevRel, I'd like to let my friend Sayam to introduce himself. And yes, please, Sayam, please go.
Thank you, Francesco, for having me over here. And nice to meet Andrea as well. Looking forward to meet at some place for sure. So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Sam Pathak, and I work as a principal developer advocate at Loft Labs. I'm also the founder of Cube Simplify, which is a community, a YouTube channel where I teach cloud native, and I have been in this ecosystem for a long time. And yeah, I'm all in for developer advocacy, DevRel, and let's see what Francesco and Nimrod has in for us. Like, let's see.
Perfect. Thank you. I think you just released a very cool Kubernetes course. We can even put this into this event. Before we start with the spicy questions, of course, I needed to reintroduce my co-host, dear co-host Nimrod Kramer. So please reintroduce yourself, and how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Francesco. My name is Nimrod Kramer. I'm co-founder and CEO of a startup called daily.dev. Our mission is to become the home for developers on the internet. We're a consumer-facing company, meaning that we're here to serve developers in every step of your professional journey, from the very first moment where you just decided you want to go into software engineering throughout all of the different phases. We're here to help you with everything you need beyond just proper coding, whether that's staying up to date, finding communities of like-minded people, learning, upskilling yourself, and so on and so forth. The platform has been evolved quite drastically in the last couple of years. We have about 1 million developers active on our platform, and we're growing pretty much every day. So if you're here and you haven't tried it out yet, then I obviously welcome you to give it a shot after the live stream. You got to listen to what we have here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We left a link below, but it's so easy to remember because it's daily.dev. So we made the job very easy for you to try it out. We have Chrome extensions, mobile applications, so you can absolutely check it out. Perfect. So now it's time to start, and I would like maybe both of you to talk about something about your experience in becoming a developer advocate, even if there is something you never shared, or I don't know if there is a specific episode that you want to say and share with us. that will be great because we are here, of course, to talk about this big world of developer relations. So, who would like to start and share something about your journey in becoming a developer advocate, or a specific event that maybe you enjoyed or maybe not? Who knows? Who would like to start?
I can start. What a gentleman.
Go with go. You go,
Chivalry
Andrea.
is not dead. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. I guess I feel like I'm accidentally in DevRel, but I've always been DevRel, which is a weird thing to say. When I finally got hired into this role that I am now, um, some of the comments on like the Slack when I was like doing my proper introduction to my new team. I've been in GitHub for a long time, not always in DevRel. Was like, well, I thought that's what you did. Like you always sort of being that person that's kind of DevRel adjacent, always doing a lot of just content for education, always very involved with communities, mostly out of both necessity and gratitude, because my career is thanks to the community, thanks to people that help me out. So I think I'm more accidental DevRel than probably anyone that set out to be a DevRel person. And when I started in the team, my focus was more in the community support aspect than actual like content creation and doing more of the things that I've been doing recently, like writing a lot more, recording a lot more. So yeah, I got into do DevRel, I guess, from both like a more deeper into community management and enablement, and then also into more like product, working with feedbacks, and now more focused on like feature education. So I think I'm accidentally DevRel, but I'm right where I want to be though. Like I really do enjoy this work.
Yes, let me say something. I don't trust in coincidences. Also, we met 2 times in the last 2 months at 2 different conferences
did.
in Atlanta and in Berlin. I can say that Andrea does an incredible job. The booth is always a high energy, that high energy type of person. So she really fits very well in the role. She's just humble. Let's go with you, Sayam.
Yeah, I also never started off my career with DevRel, so I was a software engineer first. I have switched a lot in between, so I started as a Liferay developer, and then I moved into the DevOps game one sudden morning when I got a call that there's a person left, and I didn't know anything about Docker and stuff, and that one called when I was on vacation, and I just said, yeah, sure, let's do it. I didn't know anything about that, and since then I got into Docker, cloud, Kubernetes, that ecosystem, but I was still in the tech field. I mean, I am still in the tech field, but I was not doing developer advocacy at all. I then moved to Oracle, Walmart. I was doing the SRE stuff, the software engineering stuff, building stuff. The interesting thing was, while I was at Oracle and Walmart, I started to write more. I started to tell about what I was learning, because these technologies were new that time. There were less documentation, there was less resources out there. Kubernetes was just getting to pick up. The tooling wasn't mature much. People were still using self-managed Kubernetes clusters. So that's where the managed Kubernetes services for Oracle were just coming out with the OKE. So it was very interesting times to be there. So I started giving presentations in the organization. I started, giving workshops in the organization. I started creating the content within the organization. And then I started writing blogs on Medium. So I started off with the typical, anyone would start the 100 days of learning. So I also started with the 100 days of learning, and whatever I learned, I tried to share that. And it really helped. And people, resonated with me. They got connected with me. And then there was this thing. So I used to live in Bangalore that time. Bangalore has this meetup scene, very active. So there are a lot of meetups that keeps on happening in that place. So we used to attend. I then, from attending to speaking, from speaking to organizing. So everything was happening. Till now, I'm still not a developer advocate. And then when I switched my roles to SIBO, that was the first time I got in for the director of technical evangelism. The title was fancy. It was not developer advocacy. Developer advocacy was one part of that particular role that I was doing. And now in this particular role, I'm officially titled as well as the principal developer advocate. which is good. I really like what I'm doing, creating content, and yeah, that's where I am now.
Thank you, Sayam. And yes, I think we met in London some time ago, I think a couple of years back, at the CIVO conference. And again, we have a very humble guest because, and I really like when people share like when was the beginning, because maybe someone just followed you and they think, I don't know, that you knew Kubernetes since you were 5 or 6. So this is what people think we are, but it's great, I think, to share something about the past. You released an incredible course. It's on my videos that I want to watch. I'll share this now, of course. A shameless plug. I don't care. And in the meanwhile, yes, we can keep going with some cool questions or spicy questions. So for this, I will let Nimrod is on this side. Nimrod to drop the next one or whatever you want.
I'm going to start with a lowball question, which is somewhat, I think, naive and maybe repetitive question, but still happy to hear your thoughts, which is, will AI replace the average DevRel?
I love this. I also is this like good cop, bad cop? Siam, I think that's how they're doing us. They're like, Francesco gets to be a good guy and be like, oh yeah, they're humble guests and they're great people. And then Niam comes in with the questions, with the hard-hitting questions. But anyways, in all seriousness, no, of course not. I honestly don't think it's gonna replace developer advocates more than it's gonna replace engineers. I mean, that's super spicy question. Honestly, I think there are companies that are already trying, to be honest. You think about it, you've seen there's been a ton of layoffs, not only on the engineering, but also DevRel and like technical writing and folks in support and all this. But sure, AI can do a lot of things. I'm a user of AI. I use coding assistants. That's my life. That's how I've been able to actually become better at my job, really. But although it can write code, it's not going to be able to build trust, right? It's going to generate your documentation for your projects, but it's not going to help you understand why a developer wants to throw their laptop out the window, frustrated when they're trying to troubleshoot something. Like that's just something that AI can do. Can speak at conferences and have delicious meals with friends, talking about the industry in general. So I honestly don't think it's going to be a replacement. I think it's an enhancement, right? A lot of what we do is planting seeds. AI is not planting seeds. I've had conversations with folks that saw a talk I gave 5 years ago, and they remember one piece of content that made them go and do and try something that they didn't think they could or wanted to do before. AI can do that. So another thing that AI can do is push back. Sometimes companies make dumbass decisions, us included. We make decisions that are always not in the best interest of our users because we are not looking at full pictures. And this is an Andrea opinion, not endorsed by my employers. Just disclaimer. And AI is not going to listen to that and tell you, listen, this is the time to go push back on that product decision because it's going to hurt the community. It's going to hurt your users. And at the end, your company. So you can automate all the content creation that you want, but you're not going to be able to automate empathy and the level of involvement and how much I'm yet to meet one DevRel person that's not so almost sickly intertwined with their role that is their life. You're always out, you're always on. AI can't do that. So I'm going to go with no. It's changed the way that we work. I think for some of us that are taking advantage of how we can enhance some of maybe our skills and help us augment what we know, it's great. But yeah, definitely no. I feel pretty secure that we're not going anywhere.
Want to tell us more about the dumb decisions you had to push back on? No, just kidding.
No, listen, and I'm full transparency. We just had something happen where we deprecated a feature that was because we're looking at telemetry and we're like, well, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's not a very used feature. And I've seen this happen more than once at my time at GitHub. And guess what? Like the announcement came out as I was on a live stream, and it was a live stream in Spanish. And I'm talking to the person that I invited. And I'm like, the only thing I can say is like, let's find the discussion. Let's all post why this is something that matters to us. And that's my job. I feel like I'm here not so much to sell the company to people, but to sell the company to developers or like developers to the company. No, like I'm convincing you that this is where you should be. And when we do things that are not like with the empathy and intention, and it's not for lack of saying the company doesn't care, it's just that sometimes those decisions are being made very abstract from like the day-to-day of what a developer experience is. Turns out people internally were using this more than that. They were like, wait, what? I did this to do my job. So community heard, and now it's a halted decision, and this happened in span of days. So, and that happens at small companies, big companies. I'm grateful that we still have a team in product that actually takes that feedback to heart and has no problem saying, you know what, let's halt this. We maybe should not go on there prematurely. Let's figure out how we can better achieve our goal, but also make sure that we're not damaging a key part of the developer's workflow. So yeah, it's not always roses, right? Like sometimes, and it'll happen again. That's guaranteed.
Love it.
Really love your transparency, Andrea. I know that you were like a perfect fit for this for this event. And yes, so Jan, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I mean, one-liner, spicy takes, right? So one-liner is the last job that AI will take is developer advocacy. So that's the last piece. It's not the first piece. Like software engineering, we are saying yes. We say that Kiro, which was launched by AWS, I tried it. It's pretty dope. You can now start building features or adding features to your current application stack. I don't know how much Nimrod you use or your team uses these AI agents or AI IDEs, or are they allowed the AI IDEs to be used for the work? But I think what AI does is, as a person, what I have seen, the people using it, the young generation using it, it's killing the creativity, because people are just asking everything to AI. Like, what talk should I submit to X conference? That is also they're asking to AI. What diagrams they need to create? That is also they're asking to AI. So there is a sense which I do not like. I mean, yes, AI is good. AI is helping me in supporting me, basically helping me scale the content that I'm creating, and I'm able to work much faster than before, a lot productive than before. But the thing that I don't like is that everyone is becoming too dependent on AI. So I think you need to embrace AI in your workflows and be more productive. But this particular job is also a lot about creativity. You should not let go the creativity of you, and you have to be creative. And Andrea just talked about trust, which is very, very important. I think the human aspect, empathy, trust, will be the key things that will matter a lot in the AI era. That will really matter a lot. Like the relationships that you build when you go to the conference. Yeah, AI right now cannot go to the conference. Yeah, there will be humanoids, but you can't have a humanoids conference. I mean, that's why it will be the last job to be replaced, because everyone will be doing something, right? They'll meet, and that's what that's what we'll be doing. So yeah, I don't think AI is replacing for sure the developer advocacy. It's something which is a lot more. Like there's a lot of things in the developer advocate umbrella, and it's not just writing a blog. Yes, we might come to a time where AI is so efficient that it can create that blog for you, but then also there comes a lot of human aspect to it, a lot of trust aspect to it, a lot of technological expertise aspect to it, and how your journey has been to that particular point.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to everything you're saying, and in some sort of a paradox is that when AI just got out, a lot of people discussed how AI lowers the barrier for content creation of any kind, but also code generation, which is like a subset of just written text, right? If we want to really abstract it, but it never comes down just to that, right? So in a very paradox way, nowadays, while people thought that technical content writers and even DevRels that are very good at writing content, they thought that they'll become obsolete. I think the opposite have happened, that real authentic content gets a lot more love and appreciation, because you can easily detect AI generated content nowadays. I think people are starting to build that muscle, right? And all of a sudden, content that looks real and genuine and not just AI slop gets a lot more love. But that brings me to some sort of a follow-up question. If we go back to the the DevRel role, which isn't DevRel becoming just an expensive content marketing with a community badge on top of that? Isn't it becoming more or less that?
That's interesting. So is like what is it, like an expensive technical writer kind of thing, or like what do you mean?
I mean, yeah, some expensive technical writer with some added perks of creating trust with people, not necessarily in scale, but in a more precise way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and we're two DevRel people here, or three Francesco as well. But there's people doing DevRel all kinds of ways, and even from companies to companies, like the way that GitHub does DevRel is completely different the way that Microsoft does DevRel, right? So I think it just really varies on what your goals for the role are, company to company. Like I started my role at GitHub, and I was doing product in DevRel, and we were focused on global expansion and more the features that help us interact with users across different languages. And so it was a very niche type of focus. It was still DevRel, but it was very specific to the product. So I think it just really depends on what the goal is, where it sits in your organization. I think that's so important. I will die on the hill that you need to be close to product and engineering, or you're just not going to be able to do DevRel properly. Like, even though it could be a technical, like, marketing function, or you should be close to the content people that are writing the blog and doing all that. But I think for you to really be able to translate that empathy and feel the pain that developers are feeling when they're using your tool, you need to be able to talk to the PMs, and you need to be able to talk to engineers. And so I think it depends. There might be companies where having a DevRel person that's a technical writer that goes to meetups is plenty, and that's perfect, and that works fine. But it depends on the complexity of your product and like the way that your company really wants to approach it. Not all companies DevRel the same, right? Like, I'm not tied to a sales pipeline. There are other DevRels that are, like outside my company and other companies. So
Yeah, absolutely agree to the point that Andrea brought up, that it is really, the role is really company specific. And I believe that companies should have the expectations. They should not, like, that's one of the big pain points that I see. Companies hire DevRel without expectations, and they expect them to do everything.
yes,
Which is not the case. It has to be, you are hired for a certain thing with an expectation, with a goal and a vision. And then as a DevRel, when you are joining, what, where you are going, what you will be going to do. And then, yes, you improvise, some things work, some things fail, you improvise, you come up with new ideas and all that stuff. But DevRel, like I said, is an umbrella where there are a lot of things. There is this content piece. In content piece itself, there is a lot of things. Some people are just doing the shorts or reels. They are doing it really, really well. Some people are creating short form content on X and LinkedIn. Some people are creating good X articles. Some people are taking the blogs, the content which is right. And then obviously the blogs, the webinars, the YouTube streams. Then you have conferences, you have meetups, you have hackathons. So there is a lot. And then these are just, this is just one part. The core part is how your product, let's say, I work for Loft Labs and I have a product vCluster, how the developers are using vCluster, and how I spread the word about vCluster. And not only just by spreading the word, okay, use vCluster, not like this, but how actually it solves the pain points. What are people's current architectures? What are their pain points? And then, yes, vCluster is one solution that can help you solve that pain point. That's how the conversations that I have. It's not about having a stars goal, having a goal of sales pipeline. Yes, we want the sales funnel. So this acts as a sales funnel that I talk. So this is beginning of the sales funnel. It goes into that. The conversations goes into that. Yes, then the sales can have the discussions. They can take it forward. Solution engineers can come in. But for me, I work more into, how, and I think many of in my circle too, how you are tying it to the product, how the developers are looking at, and how you give the feedback. Like, if it can fall, like many places DevRel falls under marketing, which is fine, it's okay, because you work very closely with the marketing team, because you have to put the content out there, you need to go to the conferences, so it aligns very well over there. But, and a very big but over here, that you have to have the regular conversations with the leadership and the PM teams, because that's where you will be telling, okay, I had a conversation with maybe 100 developers, this particular feature, is something that needs to be developed, or is preventing the viral growth of the product. Like, you have to come up with these, you have to come up with the pain points, what are the type of FAQs they are asking, and then go back. Maybe the documentation is wrong, maybe the architecture diagram is wrong, maybe they are not able to get on their head when they click the first website, maybe the install is not in the right place, it should be very visible. So these are some small pointers, just small examples. But like you said, can a technical writer be a DevRel? Why not? If a company needs a technical writer, they have a target of creating X amount of content, and the person is able to deliver, that might be a DevRel for that particular organization.
Yes, thank you, Sayam. And I don't agree with what Andrea said, because she said that not all the companies do DevRel in the same way. I would say there is not a single company who does DevRel in a way that another company does. So basically, all the companies do this differently. That's my point of view. And I would like to take this question from Sebastian. We met him at Render ATL. And talking about skills for DevRel. So since the companies do DevRel on different ways, is there a skill that you can use maybe on different DevRel roles? Or maybe he's also asking, like, maybe what is a skill that maybe you want to improve, let's say if you want to get into DevRel? I have an answer, but I would let you both of you go first. And let's see, probably you'll pick mine.
I think there are so many skills that are transferable into DevRel, right? For people that are already doing like community work, like, hey, Sebas, I know who you are. I know what you do for the Tor community, right? Like, you already have a ton of transferable skills there. So, we could talk about, having that curiosity, wanting to actually use the tools, having the engineer understanding, all those things, but having thick skin for feedback, because not everything you put out, say is going to be a popular opinion, or your product might not be a popular product. But for me, I think one key thing, and sometimes we kind of hold ourselves into either being with a super strong technical depth, and that is great, and you're going to have the time of your life doing DevRel, talking to engineers and writing about what you're working on and building prototypes and demoing them. But you need to be able to talk to the business people. You need to be able to talk to the business teams. You need to be able to interpret at a higher level how the developers are using your tool, your platform, what have you. And something that I mentioned earlier, like, you're sort of that advocate to the team that says, this is what the users are saying. And beyond the technical complexity of what it might take to create X, Y, or Z, this is the reason why. So you need to be able to speak business in a way, be able to translate those technical needs and the user feedback and sentiment into actionable business insights, so that your organization leadership then says, oh, well, heck, clearly this is something that we should invest on. I think if you do focus a bit on that, because it's so nice. Listen, I would rather be holding nerding out. Like, before we got into the stream, I was late because I just figured out something I've been trying to do for the past 2 days, and I finally cracked it. And I'm like, I love going on those rabbit holes, and the satisfaction I get from that is great. Now I need to go back to my team and figure out how I'm going to explain this in a way that it makes business sense for them to invest, be it content, time, awareness, marketing, onto the one thing. So just having that expectation that you need to do a bit more than the technical things, but also be able to translate those needs to business, I think is huge. And if regardless of where you are right now, if you're an engineer, you're already having to have those conversations with stakeholders, just being a bit more focused and intentional about those, I think is a good one. Andreas the detective. I am.
It's great.
Yeah, I think
Sayami
also
would
for
like
the,
to go. Yeah.
yeah, I agree on the points that Andrea has put. Yeah, it's basically not something like, for example, if currently I'm in a role where I have to, I'm working core on the V cluster part of thing. Maybe in future I go for something else, maybe some in an AI organization. Probably I have to upskill myself in that particular ecosystem. So tech is something which you need to keep learning in whatever role in the developer advocacy that you're going in, because every time there will be a new product. Yes, like for example, in blockchain, there can be a series of things, the core concepts, and then you can pick on the product. Same in the cloud native ecosystem, the core concepts, you can revolve around in the whole ecosystem. So that can be one point. So tech skills, in my opinion, and yeah, this is where people can differ from me, to be honest. I think the skills, like, you should be, because the name is developer relations, developer advocacy, so you need to understand about being a developer over there, what it feels, I'm not saying you need to be a hardcore coder to add a feature, but you need to understand what is happening. You need to be at least able to read the code. You need to be able to generate the POCs, and you need to be able to, if you think this particular feature, and I have seen it often, people do it. I created a mini project called Cube Hatch. So it was basically creating a minimalistic IDP. And it was just for my learning skills that I did, but I think people enjoyed that too. And that was using the core product in an organization, vCluster. Like this, I think when you become the dev that who wants to solve the problems that the other developers are facing while using your product, then you open so many gates for you. Like, then product team welcomes you like anything, because they know you now know the product really well. And marketing, obviously, they are already happy with you. Hope so, they're happy with you. And you need to bridge that. Another thing is how you carry forward you keep improving your skills on communicating with people, and that happens when you talk more, when you be more open. And you can be, but the best thing, there are a lot of people that say, I'm an introvert, how can I be a dev? I know so many people who are introverts and they are so dope DevRels. What you have to do, this very crazy thing, what you just have to do is pick any conference. Just go to that conference and stand in front of the booth. You don't have to speak anything. People will come to you, they'll start the conversation. That's the icebreaker. And many people are afraid of the ice, like many introverts that I have met, the most important thing that they are afraid of doing is, how do I start the conversation? And you don't have to start the conversation, just stand there in front of the booth, that's it. You start talking, and then slowly and slowly you start picking up, and then you feel, okay, these are human, they are the real people, and I'm just talking to people, and it naturally start flowing around, and you start picking up that skill. So if you are an introvert and if you want to get into DevRel and you're thinking that this particular skill is not letting me, it's not a barrier. It's absolutely not. Just go to any conference, pay for it. If you're not going as a speaker, because you might have the stage fear, but first let this fear go away. Just go to a conference, stand in front of the booth, and you'll be good.
Yes, I feel forced to answer now to Sayama, because when we talk about introverts, I have to say my point of view, because I made a talk about introversion, introverted developers on social media. So first of all, this seems something new, that introverts are like human beings. So nice to know. I set a note here. And during my talk about introverted developers on social media, I asked how many of you they feel like introverts, and like 60-70% of the people raised their hand. And we were also at a conference, so all the real introverts, they were at home, and still 70% of the people, they raised their hand. I have proof with pictures and videos. So of course you can do it if you are an introvert. Maybe you are even like, you can relate more to other people and fellow developers. Going back quickly to the question by Sebastian, Julia is laughing. I think that skills that you can use on different roles are knowledge of a domain. So, for example, if you're into the DevOps area, technical, it's related to what Sayam said. So, if you are knowledgeable, so let's say about the DevOps world, you can be a DevOps DevRel on different companies. They might even like reach you out. This might be useful or might be not, but knowledge of a specific domain. And then I'll go with an obvious one, which is communication. So if you improve your communication skill, this can be used whatever, on all the social media and all the formats you want to use. Andrea also said something which sounds new to me, that you might get criticized on social media. This never happened to me, not even once. So no idea what you're talking about. But this, I'm learning a lot during this event. I'm taking notes. One last about the developer advocates who maybe are focused on content creation. Well, so a suggestion is to be very strong on a specific content format. So let's say, I don't know, you're very strong on doing reels, you're very strong on doing tutorials. Some companies might reach you out for that specific format. So instead of doing everything, maybe being known, I don't know, for writing very good articles, for doing very good live streams. And this is maybe a skill that some companies might be interested in. So these are my three skills that you might use on different DevRel roles. Perfect. So said this, I gave my point of view. I would like to pass the ball to Nimrod.
All right, so the next question, we're stepping up our game a little bit. And I'm going to ask a question in two ways. You choose which one you pick. The first version is, what is the biggest lie that people say about DevRel? Or you can answer the alternative, which is, what is the biggest lie DevRel's telling others?
The biggest lie DevRel tells others is that they've never been criticized online. What, Francesco?
Never happened. I don't know. Maybe
I'm so sorry. You're just an elite class of DevRel person I've never met before. So I'm sorry. I just need to hang out with you more often. But let's see. I'm gonna take the biggest lie that said about DevRel, or I don't know, just like I think we might have even heard it here, like that DevRel is just marketing for developers, right? Like I feel like that's honestly like it's reluctant and it's insulting to both DevRel and marketing people because they both do very loaded and intense jobs. I look at marketing, I think it's like they do an amazing job of promoting the things that exist, but DevRels, we get to be unicorns. We get to help shape what doesn't exist, right? Beyond promoting what's currently there. So I think it's much more than marketing for developers. And when you do find a really good DevRel person, you score a unicorn, because you have to find someone that's a fake introvert or extrovert rather, that's comfortable doing things that are maybe not 100% within their cartwheel of, technically speaking. They can stretch themselves into every new feature or into every new stack. Sayam, I love how you shared. You were like, and at the beginning, Francesco also said it, you weren't born, with a Kubernetes cluster in your brain printed like this. And we forget sometimes, right? Like we take for granted how we all had to start learning somewhere and think. So yeah, it's kind of insulting to both developers and marketers. I think DevRel people are so much more, and marketers are so much more than DevRel, which is focused on our things, right? Yeah. So I think that's it. That DevRel is just marketing for developers. I think that's a lie. It's a lot more. I'm working on my job security here.
I love it. That's a good take.
Yeah, I
can't remember that. I don't know if you want to answer the same question or you are forced to answer the other one now. So I don't know, Nimrod.
Oh
no! What's the rule?
Well, actually, the point that I'm giving is both ways. One, if people have that in their heads that DevRel only go to conferences and they enjoy the beautiful places out there, I just want to clear that let's say the conference is on 9 and 11. You fly in on 8th or sometimes on 9th morning, you do the session, you fly back on 11th. I mean, that's how it is. There is no, it's like hotel to the conference room to the hotel. There is no walking around on the streets. So as fancier as it looks like from the outside, oh, this guy is traveling 24/7, one day in US, one day in uh, Spain, Barcelona, wow, amazing places, enjoying food and stuff. Well, there's this jet lag that kicks in. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And from the other point of view, if any devil says they are enjoying a lot when they're traveling, it's a lie. They're not. It's a lie. They're not enjoying a lot. It's basically, yeah, they are preparing the talk on the plane. The last minute preparations, they are just getting coffees and coffees to prevent the jet lag. And it's so both ways, the conferences can be treated as a lie from both angles.
And sometimes you travel to the US, so you don't even get a good coffee. So that's the hardest one, probably.
And neither a
But
good
yes.
pizza, so that's even a bigger problem.
You can resist without pizza, but without coffee, it's hard. Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so at the end of all these spicy questions, we will also take some other questions from the audience. So if you have some questions, this is your opportunity to drop them. We have here Andrea and Sayam, very expert developer advocates. So this is your opportunity. Don't let it slip. And yes, about traveling, yes, it can be super exhausting, but at least you can take some cool selfies. So that's it. Let's say, or you can this is the ultimate tip. If you have dark circles, you could put sunglasses and you would even look cooler. Instead, you are trying to hide your dark circles for not sleeping or for the jet lag. I mean, tried that. They worked very well. So dropping some bombs here.
We have it recorded.
Great. We have it recorded. Now, so next time we will see me with sunglasses, Yes. I would like to ask about. We talked about the cool parts, but I would like to talk about like some mistakes that you see developer advocates do. So, is there something that I don't know. You don't have to say names, but maybe some mistakes that you see some developer advocates doing, or maybe some companies, but maybe more about some people you think they're doing it wrong. So would you like to start, Andrea?
That's I feel you on all the coffee points, by the way, Francesco. It's you can't live without the coffee. I think maybe, and I guess from what I've seen, and especially recently, because I think everyone is kind of doing their own DevRel. There's a lot of new companies, new AI things coming up every day. So I would say maybe two things, right? Treating DevRel, the work you do, more as a lead generation engine, like that's killer to me. Like I know there are ways to organically and very authentically reach your users and get that feedback and all that, but every time I sign up for something, and if I gotta do more than two things on a sign up form to attend your event, like you lost me there, because I'm like, why? Like I'm coming to learn something. And if I get an email from you trying to sell me something after that, like you lost me even more. So maybe not treat that relationship with your community as just your sales pipeline. That's one quick way that you're gonna lose the trust that you have. That would be one thing. And another thing, and I've noticed this recently, as people are getting poached, right? Like from different companies. Like you see everybody's doing like the AI big tech shuffle. But one thing that I've noticed is that they're hiring people from companies that will be considered competitors in their field. And which in some of these fields that are so dense and like research and machine learning, and like, yes, you have to be like, you might be the top researcher and you might be the only person in the world that can do this job, but that's not the case for everything. And what happens when you hire only your competitors is like when you're only worried about what features your competitors are coming up with, you're stifling your own creativity and you're missing points of view. So I guess that's more a mistake that companies make when they're hiring DevRels, thinking like just poaching from competitors is going to bring like, I guess, whatever is working over there is going to now work here. And you kind of miss the mark there, though. So I guess two things. Definitely don't treat your engagements as a lead generation pipeline. There are ways to do that in a way that people have the expectation that's why they join. I'm here because I want to talk about your enterprise offering. Fantastic. I would expect you to want to give me your email address so I can connect you to a salesperson. If I'm here for a community education event, we don't need to talk about where I work. Am I a decision maker? How many employees are there at my company? Like, that's ridiculous to me. And then finally, just keeping that broad scope and different point of views, because that's only going to make your product better, whether it be DevRel or anywhere else. So yeah, that would be two sort of obvious ones to me.
So I'll take this in two parts. One is for the developer advocates. Like, one thing that I see many developers advocate miss is the metrics. Metrics is super important for the work that you are doing, and assuming that the other person would know what you're doing is just wrong. You have to document what you're doing, and you have to work towards goals, metrics, and that is there in the product adoption or community health or growth, or it can be different metrics, and that can be defined with you and your manager on what are the priorities. But you have to have certain metrics and goals. Working without goals and metrics is, it's you might think you are doing 10 different things, but they're not impactful and they're not useful for the organization that you're working for. And down the lane, 6 months, suddenly one day you'll be asked like, hey, what did you do? And then you'll be like, oh, I did like 100 things. Did you see? No, because they weren't documented. Nothing drive the community. Nothing drive the goals that we were looking for, because this discussion didn't happen. So this discussions need to happen regularly, and you need to work towards the goals and the metrics. And definitely you have to do that.
That actually leads us perfectly to the last question for today, which is around bad metrics or vanity metrics that DevRels are still chasing for some reasons. Please choose your number one vanity metric that you still see DevRels. Again, you don't need to name anyone, but you still see DevRels optimizing for. And why do you think that's a vanity metric?
Francesco wants to go.
Andrea is gonna hate me. GitHub starts.
GitHub starts.
I said it.
Yeah.
I said it.
Same time. GitHub starts.
Andrea left the
didn't
chat.
say that.
I actually agree with you. So
I wanted to fight.
What do you know? It's the same way that I agree that this, like the contribution graph, is not a clear indication of what a good engineer you are or what work you're putting out. So I actually agree with you.
Perfect. Andrea just raised 10 ranks
But
on
why do we? All right, so we have an agreement on GitHub stars, but what's the logic behind it? What do you think? Why do you think it's a vanity metric, and why do you think people are still chasing after that?
For the stars in particular, and I'm sorry, I was having a little bit of a audio problem there, so I might have missed a bit
we can
of
talk
that,
about
but I think
stars or any other vanity metric.
Yeah, I think, and especially now, right? Like it's so easy to, or it's not easy, because if it was, then this wouldn't even matter. We wouldn't be having a conversation. But sometimes you peg too much of the essence of what you're building to a metric that is 100% vanity. Really, that's it. Popularity is one thing. Adoption is one thing. You can ship out something on what do you call it, the product site, and get 10,000 people to start your repo today. And then if you do no work to the product for the rest of, like, that's not going to help it grow. That's not going to help you create a community around it. So I think we do get kind of caught up on that. That to say, the one good side effect of the stars, for example, is that it does bring neutrality to some products and projects that might not get it otherwise, right? Like, I'm a big promoter of starting open source projects. Like, that to me, it's a good use case for stars, because I want you trending on GitHub. I want your product to be seen. And if it's a solid product with a community behind it that solves a real problem, I'm like, yeah, you need, even if you're not backed by Microsoft or Meta, like, you should have the spotlight. But I think sometimes, like, to dismiss a project because it lacks a certain amount of stars, it's a bit tough. Mind you, we do something that's kind of, I guess, it's sort of a LinkedIn rule that we have for like what open source projects we talk about and we feature. I mean, it's 100 stars, which sounds like, oh my God, that's a lot still. But I'm looking at a lot of other factors together with that. Like, I'm not making decisions of, are we going to host you for a special if you don't have any, like that amount of stars? And we make decisions on one-on-one basis. Like the feature for this Friday's Open Source Friday is a project that does not have 100 stars, but it's a project that's creating some automation workflows for you to apply to jobs. Thousands of people are losing their jobs in tech. I think it's a very important open source project. It has a solid community backend, tons of contributors. We should give it notoriety. So I would say there are good things to put in that vanity metric there, because it does sort of give you your project the visibility that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. But as a consumer of those metrics, like, we should be educated into that. That's not the only factor. That's not what makes a project a good project or a bad project. And I think most people that look at these things, like for me, for work, I have to like literally look through that and see what the top whatever projects are, or who we're going to go talk to about X, Y, or Z. We're making decisions more rounded than just a single number. But I do agree. Yeah, it's definitely not the only one. And same thing with like the contribution graph. Like, if I see nothing but solid green, that lets me know that like, when did you do anything? When did you sit down and have a meal with friends? Like, yeah.
That's great, and I think that it's because GitHub Stars is because at least it's a metric, and it's related. It's more related to the technical side. So maybe companies that are looking more for GitHub Stars and maybe followers on social media, they care it more, because at least, I mean, okay, so if someone started the repository up, at least they were on the page of the repository. So it means that someone went there. So it's not much, but it's still something. The company did something, or maybe they have good promoters or something else. Sometimes they also the repositories, they get trending for a period. So that's it. It's still something, and something to brag about, basically. So it's nice to have, but we should take this with a grain of salt.
My perspective on GitHub Stars is actually, I think there's the way it behaves from the developer perspective is very different when you have no stars than when you have a lot of stars. So there's some depreciating value throughout your star aggregation process. So when you have 0 stars on your repo and there is a new developer that's considering using your repo for whatever purpose, it lacks some basic social proof, or sometimes it comes with this flavor, or maybe not enough developers have tried it, maybe it's not mature enough. So it gives some sort in the beginning, in the very early phases, when you have 0 stars, having 10, 50, or 100 stars can help you cross the chasm of just having like basic credibility. And then the value depreciates. Like, after you have a certain amount of stars, I don't know like what's the exact threshold, whether that's 200, 1,000, 10,000, it doesn't really matter. It just doesn't matter anymore how many stars you have. So the daily dev repo, our platform is open source. So our repo has 20,000 stars. Does it mean anything at this point? Like, if we had 30, 40, 50,000 stars, I'm not really convinced. But if it was on the very beginning, if I just had started the project, I would be quite stressed if it had 0 stars. So in the beginning, it's not vanity, I think, but it's in the very, very early beginning. And some people just take it to the extreme and fall in love with the game of accumulating stars and forget like what was the purpose of it in the first place.
Great. You can go and start the daily dev GitHub repo. I'll shoot a link. No, I'm joking. Sayamba?
Yeah, I think again, all the points are almost covered, but I think from the perspective where there are startups, the vanity metrics kind of is important because the VCs look at that. So I think the perception has to change from the VC angle as well. And like Andrea said, it's not only the number of GitHub stars. It should be like number of issues, number of pull requests, number of people who are engaging in the discussions, the roadmap, how many people are discussing that. So I think all these collectively gives you the health report kind of a project. That is more valuable than just looking at, okay, it has 10,000 stars, but it has zero issues open, zero pull request open, that means there's something fishy over there. And many people try to do that because they put in some money, like X amount of dollars in a hackathon, and one of the requirements in the hackathon is you need to start the repository. Then when people do the boot scans, they say you scan this or you get this particular t-shirt or this, you start the repository. And that's the easy trade of $500 versus 500 stars, or $5,000 versus 500 stars, something like that. So people try to do that. It's like Nimrod said, it is important to know about the usage. Like if I should use a particular project, with 0 stars, I mean, it feels like should not, because it's something that nobody is using. And then it's also from the perspective of how much you should push as a metric to a developer advocate for this. So
Yes, thank you, Yam. Yes, it helps a bit. So, Andres, we have done, I think, a very nice discussion about GitHub stars. Let's see, we'll use it in some ways. Again, thanks, Andrea, for sharing your transparent opinion. So we are already close to 1 hour. So the time really went super fast. This happens when you enjoy these things a lot. I enjoyed this very episode a lot. I also dropped a couple of things that I liked. So Nimrod, let's wrap up this episode, and I would like to let both of the speakers to give some final thoughts. And yes, and then best of luck. And I'm sure that we'll collaborate again. I mean, tomorrow I'll be on GitHub Live. This was not planned, but it's just just a random alignment. So that's great. So yeah, maybe we can go with Sayam first, and then Andrea, then Imrod, and then Francesco.
So first of all, world peace, and Sayam, please add more.
Yep. So I would say in the end, any role that you do, be it developer advocacy, software engineering, I mean, just love what you're doing. If you love building software, just do software. Don't think about you need to have a social media image, or you need to have that following, or you need to be an influencer and stuff like that. It's everything comes organically. If you are sharing resources, people will follow you. If you are sharing what you are learning, people will organically follow you. So you don't need to push for that, and you don't even need to be there. If you are enjoying working in your home from your couch on a particular product, just do it. It's nobody's stopping you. And if you're a developer advocate and you love to you are creative, you love to create content, you love to bridge the gaps between the product and talk to developers. Obviously you like writing, you like watching, you write speaking at the conferences, then yes, and you enjoy doing this. Like it's all about how much you enjoy and learn your particular role. That's what will make you better. And the only thing and the only competition is not someone else with X amount of following. The only competition is you yourself. So you just have to be a better version of yourself the next day. That's it. And if you are able to do that in any field, irrespective of where you're working, how you're working, I think that helps. And that helps me. So that's how I work.
Really love it, Sayam. Let's go. We'll go with Andrea.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no wisdom. I have no wisdom. Only, well, I mean, if for people that tune into this, maybe they were curious as to what DevRel does, or like it'll be a fun thing to maybe explore as a career. And if you're watching this, or you watch any of the other streams where DevRel people are talking, or you're seeing what the DevRel people are putting out, and you still like sort of don't see yourself reflected on those voices, right? You still think like, well, that's not how I would do it, or how I would say it, or what I would do to promote whatever. Like, that's excellent. I mean, I think like you're exactly the kind of person that needs to come in this industry with a fresh perspective, right? I think every single person has something to bring, and we sometimes lack ourselves giving grace to ourselves and to how our experience is so valuable. So if you're new to tech, you have something to say that's valuable. Like the way that you're experiencing a product, this is somebody that's been using it for the past 10 years is completely different. And I want to know that. So all that to say that just your voice matters just as much. And if you think that this is a career path that you want to follow, there is room. There is room here for you. That for folks that might be interested in DevRel as a career choice. And then for companies, like, stop hiring people that are just gonna say yes and care about vanity metrics. Like, I think you should have folks on your teams that are challenging the dumb decisions that sometimes companies make and that are true advocates for developers. I think if I accomplish nothing else, my job, I hope to keep an authentic caring and empathy for our users. You can't fake that. And there are certain hills that I'll die on, and that's definitely one of them. So like at the end of the day, you can be an influencer, have 50,000, 1 million followers. It doesn't matter. Like those hard-earned trust and relationships they're not made because you had 1 million followers on Twitter. They're made because you're actually on the DMs answering people. You're actually having the conversations. You're going to the meetup, whether it's one person or 100. Like all those things to me make such a better DevRel person than someone that's just had a massive following, and that's the reason why they get the job. So for companies, stop hiring those people because they might have a big following, but maybe they don't reflect the authentic voices that you want to create, that community trust that you really want people to have on your product. And for people, if you don't find yourself represented, even a better reason for you to come into DevRel, because we're missing your voice. So come and challenge the companies and challenge the products to promote and share things better.
I love it. So my last take, especially in light of everything that we've discussed today, is that one of the most important questions that I think both DevRels and people who are managing DevRels, even more importantly, people who are managing DevRels, should ask themselves and tinker about more is, what do I want from myself? What do I actually want? I think this is a question that if you ask yourself this more often, and if you push back on your own answers, you'd be better in your job. And in DevRel in particular, where it can branch out into 1,000 different activities, ask it yourself today, tomorrow morning, and that will help you become a better DevRel or a better manager for your DevRels. So that's my take.
Thank you, Nimrod. So we are at the end, a bit overrun today, but it's fine. I'll just steal a couple more minutes. First of all, I would like to say thank you to both of the speakers. I hope to meet you again in person. I really loved your takes, and I also enjoyed particularly this episode. So thanks, both of you, and also for sharing your opinions, especially the transparent opinions. So I can feel the transparency here, and that's it. Also, last thing maybe it's important to remember is that all this series has been, I think, an idea by Nimrod and me to create this series about the DevRel. Has been offered for free to you by daily.dev, so you can check it out. We also have a DevRel squad. I'll invite both of you if you want to participate. It's sort of like a community of developer advocates on daily.dev, because it's a platform for developers. And yes, so just try daily.dev and let us know what you think about it. We are done for today. We should have another episode in about 3 weeks. And I hope you enjoyed this series. I see some people enjoyed. Remember to drop questions, participate in these events, because it's an opportunity to get in touch with more developer advocates. If you're interested into developer relations, the best way is to connect with other developer advocates. If you want to play the guitar, probably it's a good idea to connect with more people who plays the guitar. That's it. So thanks everyone for joining in the chat. Thanks Sayam, thanks Andrea. I left both of their links below here in the description, so feel free to follow them everywhere. I think I forgot to share the Andrea one, so I shared the Sayam before. This is the link on Twitter for Andrea. That's it. Nimrod, are we done? Can we wrap it up?
Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the week.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This was fun.
Thank you.
I liked it.
Thank you. It was. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.